Hello, Culture Matters podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest. But before I do that, here's a quote I picked just for this episode. Sales is so much more than a word track. Steve Wilmer. Our guest, who, by the way, thank you for your service, served in the U.S. Marines and law enforcement for over a decade, pivoted into helping families, if I'm correct, in the property casualty space for one of the top organizations in that space in the country, and excelled at an extremely high level when it comes to, I guess, what I was reading. Sales is so much more than a word track. I'd love that. Author of 10 to Win and another book I'd like to learn more about today. And shout out to Tony Capullo that introduced us, a great friend of the Culture Matters podcast. He's been on here a whole bunch of times. If you're a listener, you know who he is. And Steve, thank you so much, Steve Wilmer, for coming on the show to talk sales, business, leadership, culture. I'm sure who knows where we're going to go in this. But I'm curious, firstly, what you think about, I know it sounds maybe a little messed up, but I had to pick this quote. I loved it so much. How do you feel about you? Yeah.
It's so funny. You say quote, and dude, I'm a student. I keep learning and wanting to learn. So I grab my pencil. I'm like, oh my God, a quote. Come on. And you say, I'm like,
well, originally it was going to be St. Augustine. And then I was preparing and I was like, I love this quote so much. So can we unpack this? Sales is so much more than a word track. What do you mean by that generally when you're thinking about this?
Absolutely. So, well, first off, let me say, man, thank you. It is an absolute honor to be here with you, Jay. I really appreciate it. Again, shout out to Tony Capullo for introducing us. And like I said earlier, I just want to be able to add value to your listeners. So sales is so much more than a word track, because it is. People are always asking, how did you become in the top 3% in sales in the entire country in the largest P&C company? And they say, and everybody always says, what's the word track? What are you saying? I'm like, whoa, back up. You don't get it. Sales is so much more than a word track. And when I said that, I saw people start writing it down. And I'm like, ooh, I think I just came up with something there. Wow. Because it is so much more than a word track. You got to know your why. It's my why. It's my self-development. It's my faith. It's my mindset. Hey, Jay, it's my culture.
Wow.
Okay. All of that made me be in that top 3%. So when people are asking about sales, don't get me wrong, I'm going to teach you the word track, because I also say professionals use scripts, amateurs wing it, right? So I'm going to teach you the word track. I'm going to teach you what to say. I'm going to teach you what not to say. But we got to get everything else. It's called building that foundation. The word track is not the foundation. We got to build that foundation first so the word track will work.
So heck yeah. So the foundation leads to the work track not being fake or something. That's me projecting. But so why? Where does one start with the process of figuring out their why in your mind?
Absolutely. Anything that you want to do in life. Now we're talking about business. We're talking about sales. But if you want to lose weight, why do you want to lose weight? You want to start a business? Why do you want to start a business? People are always asking me, Steve, you've written these books. I want to write a book. Really? That's great. Why do you want to write a book? So the foundation for me, everything starts with your why. And here's the reason. If we don't have a solid reason, Jay, about why we want to do anything in life, when obstacle comes, when adversity comes, if we don't have that solid why to know why we're doing it, we're going to quit and we're going to give up. Everybody that's listening, write this down. Reasons comes first, how comes later. So when I first started in sales, I had to do what I call my why statement. And so here's my why statement to kind of give you an example of what I'm talking about. My background, right? I come from the project. So here's my why statement. And Jay, it was taped to my desk on a 3x5 card. Wow. I refuse to let my children, Judah, Josiah, Joy, and Jana, grow up in poverty the way that I did. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes in order to give them the opportunities that I did not have. You see, that's my why. So when obstacles came, I would look down, I would want to give up. Fear would come. Adversity came. I wasn't making any sales and I wanted to quit so many times. But Jay, I look down and I see my why statement. And that's what kept me going, because let's be honest, if I don't make a sale, if I don't close the sale, if I don't push through, I don't make money. I don't make money. I can't provide for my family. I can't provide my family. My kids end up growing up in poverty the way that I did. So you got to have your why statement that keeps you focused.
What was it like?
What's that? When I first started in sales? Poverty?
Way in the beginning.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, we've seen the TV shows. I grew up in Aragon Court, so I grew up in the projects, just me and my mom. Man, the stuff that I remember seeing, I wouldn't wish on anyone. But here's the thing: there's so many people that's been through that, and we're honest. There are people that are listening. Some of your listeners, Jay, who have been through even worse than what I've been through, right? And so when we come through those things, we got a choice to make. I can remember an early age saying, you know what? I do not want to live like this. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was 100% sure I did not want to live that way anymore. That's what made me enlist in the Marine Corps. Okay. Didn't have any money to go to college. Didn't have any grades to go to college. I hope they're listening to this. I barely graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA. All right. And so my mantra, okay. So here's my mantra: is from the projects to the president. So how did I go from barely graduating high school with a 1.9 GPA to being the president of $1 million debt-free company with no college degree, right? The why statement had a lot to do with it, but I had made up in my mind. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I made up in my mind that I was going to do something to get me out of the projects and to be able to take me to where I am today. And here's the thing, man, I ain't finished now. I'm still continuing to grow. I'm still continuing to learn. That's why when you about to give that quote, I'm a learner. Oh, what's the quote? Who said it? Come on, talk to me. What does it mean?
You said it, my friend.
I said it, right? And I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, I said that.
So what is your advice to the listener to write down something bigger than them?
That is it. It has to be bigger than you. And it can't be, listen, it cannot be money, if that makes sense. You can't say my why statement is to make more money. And I get where you're coming from, but what is the money going to do? What is the money going to provide? See, when I say I wanted to make sure that my children had opportunities that I did not have, well, obviously that takes money, because all 4 of my kids went to a private Christian school. That ain't free.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's not free though, right?
No.
It costs money. It costs money. So just being able to do those things and then being a giver. I mean, I could go about the 8, I could talk about, I love the number 8, right? So I could talk about the 8 biggest mistakes to avoid in sales. And my other 8, I talk about the 8 rules of money. And rule number 8 and my 8 rules of money, it's giving, right? So you don't just make money to keep it yourself. You make money to be a blessing to others.
How do you go about helping someone that's unsure of when is the time that they are able to give?
Yep. In order to give, you've got to be able to have. And I don't mean you got to have a lot. Okay. And it really is a heart thing. So we have been givers. A lot of times people talk about money changes people. That's not true. Money only reveals who you really are. Because even when my wife and I did not have a lot, even when my wife and I filed bankruptcy twice, even when my wife and I had 2 of our cars repossessed, right? Even when we had that going on in our life, we were still givers. We just weren't able to give as much as we give now. So if people have a heart to give, then you should give. Because, I mean, I'm a man of God. And so I really believe that what you sow, then you shall reap. And so we sowed those seeds of giving. And I believe because of the work and because of what we sowed, that's why we're able to reap the benefits that we reap now.
Why insurance as your original, and maybe I'm off on this, but business direction?
That's a really, really good question. It was an accident.
Hmm.
It wasn't something I said I'm going to do. I didn't go, hey, I'm going to be a top insurance salesperson. As a matter of fact, the first 2 years I struggled in insurance sales.
Really?
So the short of it is, a buddy of mine invited me to this meeting. Hey, you can sell this stuff. You can make a lot of money. I didn't believe it. I started talking to people about dental plans, and I ended up being in the top 50 in the nation. And I got recognition. And then State Farm came a knocking. And then I went to work for the John Keziah's agency. And like I said, the first couple of years I really struggled. It was new to me. But here's what I implemented. I implemented two things. I implemented a conversation known as the Your World conversation. But more importantly, Jay, I went back to my roots and I started implementing things I learned in the Marine Corps.
Really?
Yes, man. And once I paired both of those things together, the very next year, my sales skyrocketed. And that's what made me be. At first, I was a top producer in the state of Florida. And anytime you're a top producer, people start calling, hey, Steve, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Tell me about this. And I end up traveling the country while I was waiting for my own State Farm office. And that's when I really understood not just my passion, but my gift, right? I would have been a great insurance agent, man. I promise you. I would have been a great insurance agent. I'd have been helping a lot of people, but it was still a career. I hope people that's listening understand this. It was a career. It was a job, if you will. It wasn't my gift. Once I started operating in my gift, that's when I said, you know what? This is my gift. I'm going to walk away from being a State Farm agent, start my own training company, step out in faith. Okay. And I did that in 2016. And man, the trajectory since 2016 has been past the sky. And I love it.
What were you doing the first 2 years? Meaning, if someone's listening to this of the insurance, meaning if someone's listening to this and they may not be aware that what they're doing is leading to not being successful.
Yeah. So
like,
understanding
what were those habits or behaviors that weren't what you are today.
Yeah. So here's what I tell, because people always ask, they say passion, and I know some people disagree. I don't believe that it's your passion. Okay. I believe in your gift. I believe your gift comes from God. There are a lot. Perfect example. My youngest son, Josiah is 19 years old. From the time I can remember, Josiah always sings. And I'm talking about, he'll be sitting around, he'll start singing. He's in the shower, he starts singing. He's driving a car, he starts singing. We cannot get this kid to stop singing. And he does not sound good. That he's going to have a recording studio, and he's no. It's like, son, stop it. Please stop it. It's his passion. He loves to sing. But if he had to make a living on singing, he'd be broke, his family would be broke. Here is what your gift is. And this is my humble opinion, what your gift is. When what you do is easy for you, but amazing to everybody else, that's your gift. And the word says that your gift will make room for you. It'll bring you before a great man. So when I started traveling the country, training other people, teaching other people, to me, it was like, just makes sense. Don't you understand this? What would you do? Come on, just say this. Just stop saying this, say that. I can remember once, so give me an example. So this is a sales manual I've written, right? So I'm in Vegas. I'm speaking in Vegas. I'm going through all of this stuff. Say this, don't say this. You got to use this. And one of the business owners, one of the agents says, "Where's this stuff written at?" I'm like, "What do you mean written? It's not written anywhere. Don't everybody just know this?" And you're like, "No, people don't know this. You know this. You got to write this down. You got to put this in some type of sales manual, some type of manual, Steve, so everybody will know it." See, to me, I'm like, how could you not know this? Why would you say that? Why would you not say this? To me, it was so easy, but to everybody else, it was amazing. That's my gift. And once I started operating in my gift that God gave me, that's when it brought me before a great man, start writing more books, start being invited to speak. I've been to 49 states speaking, teaching. At first, it was just me. Now I've got 7 people. I've got a staff. I've got an assistant. I've got a business partner. I've got coaches. all because I began operating in my gift. So I say, find out what your gift is. Think about it, people. What is your gift? What is it that you can do so easily, but everybody else goes, oh my goodness, that is amazing. That's your gift. You want to start a company from that gift? Why do you want to start a company? Write your why statement. Understand your direction. The next step is you got to start doing what I call, look, it's right here on the wall, self-development.
I love it.
Got to start developing yourself. Got to understand who you are and who you were created to be. So don't want to overwhelm you. There's a lot of things that go along with it, but those are some top, I would say the top 3 things you want to do.
How instrumental was or was not the like audio listening or physical books or
all of the above, man?
Mentors?
I have not, I really want to find the year, but let's say I have not listened to the radio since 2005.
Wow.
If I could try to pinpoint a year. I have not listened to the radio since 2005. The news, I just don't. If I'm in the car, I'm listening to something that's going to grow me. I'm listening to something that's inspirational. I'm listening to something that's going to make me just a little bit smarter than I was before. Nothing wrong with entertainment. I'm not saying that. You want to listen to the radio, you got your favorite song. We all have our favorite songs. I'm so far behind on songs, I couldn't even tell you. But none of those things were helping me grow. None of those things were helping me be better, than I was the day before. So, like you said, audio books. I'm listening to audio books. The simplest thing to do, because people say, well, I can't afford that. Here's the simplest thing to do that I still do today. I go to YouTube. And when I go to YouTube, all I do is type in motivation. So much free stuff on YouTube that has motivation, motivational quotes, motivational videos, audio, you put it on, you listen to it. So if you don't want to buy a book, you should. But if you don't want to buy a book, there's so many things that are free. Oh my goodness, what if there was a magnificent podcast? Man, Jay, do you know any great podcasts that people can listen to, Jay? You should tell them some great podcasts to listen to, Jay.
I'll let you know when I find them.
There you go, right? So
what do you say to the person that's thinking, well, that sounds great for this guy. He's a big, he's a big deal. Me, little old me, the only time I get to myself is when I can listen to that song or like, how do you help that person that may be listening to this and thinking, I can't do all that?
Yeah. So here's what I'll tell you. So one of the things that I talked about implementing the Marine Corps. So we talk about Marine Corps is telling you the truth. All right. I will motivate you. I will educate you, but I'm going to challenge you. And so here's what I would say to that person. Successful people do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. See, they're coming up with an excuse. And excuses are the tools of the incompetent, used to build monuments of nothingness. And those who specialize in the frequent use of them seldom succeed at anything else. Therefore, I have no excuses. You see, when I lost all of my excuses, Jay, I found all of my results. It's so easy to say I can't. It's so easy to say I'm dealing with this. It's so easy to say these different things. But once you make that's what I talk about mindset. Once you make up your mind that, hey, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I've got to do something different, that's when things begin to change. People talk about transformation. Transformation in your life starts with transformation in your mind. And the way that transformation in your mind starts is by listening to that. So that person that says that, let's say he's a friend of mine, Steve, I can't do this. You don't understand that. I say, dude, it's your mind. You don't know who you were created to be. So I say, we're going to take it simple. There are 2 things I want you to do. Number 1, I want you to start reading the word of God because I want you to understand who God says you are. And then what I do is I'll start giving him or her some scriptures on who God says they are. All right. And now, number 2, whatever, I want to start a business. I want to do this. So, I want to do that. Then what I'll do is I'll pick the right book for them to maybe start reading. Okay. Or if I'm not a book reader, again, it's an excuse. 1.9 GPA. I don't like to read, but I understand where reading takes me, right? They interviewed a Microsoft guy, Bill Gates. Now think about this, Jay. Bill Gates, one of the wealthiest men in the world. And they asked Bill Gates, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And here's what his answer was. I would love the ability to read books faster.
Yeah. Wow.
There's something in that. One of my favorite people, he's gone and passed away, I still listen to, and I've learned so much from, is Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. So talking about education, and Jim Rohn says, traditional education, like going to school, nothing wrong with that, going to school, getting good grades, college. He says traditional education will make you a living. Personal education will make you a fortune. A fortune. So ask yourself, people, do you want to make a living or do you want to make a fortune? I'm telling you, personal development, knowing who you are, knowing who you were created to be, knowing what's on the inside of you to be able to bring it on the outside, that is truly one of the first steps to change your life from good to great.
Have you found that people, they can't recognize their potential until they go down that path?
I wouldn't say they can't recognize the potential. I think all of us really realize that we all have potential. And by the way, man, we all have potential. God didn't create Jay and Steve and say, I'm going to give potential to Steve and not Jay. Didn't happen like that. God didn't create Steve and Freddie. There's a guy I went to high school with. We drive by, my kids and I, we drive by. He hangs at the same corner asking for money. His name's Freddie. We graduated together. Freddie has the same potential that I have. It's all about our decisions. It's not even about your circumstances, because we know that bad things happen to a lot of people. So there's no woe is me, this happened. Man, I trust me, whatever you're going through, somebody's been through it and somebody's been through worse. So I'm not negating that, but you can't let it happen to you define you. Let me say that again for the people that's listening. You cannot let what happened to you define you. The only person that can define you is your creator, and your creator created you for success. So going back to what I was talking about, everybody has the potential, but what are you willing to do with the potential that was put on the inside of you? You see, we are a product of our decisions. We are not a product of our circumstances.
It's 2023, and a lot of the conversations have been uncertain. People are down. They brought it like business. I hear it a lot, and it's become a topic of conversation. How to have the mindset around uncertainty, and I'm thinking, if I'm learning from you today, you said you got to know your why, and then you have to have self-development. And now that my thought thinks, or that brings me to, does that lead to mindset? So my question is, does that lead to the mindset? And then what's your view of the mindset needed to succeed now when I'm having all these conversations, our audience is listening to people talk about, myself included, what do you think of the economy? How are we navigating mindset? Is mindset the next progression? And then how do you view the mindset we need to succeed right now in 2023?
Yeah, and I wrote down another word that you said. One of the first words you said is uncertain, right? So, man, I hate to break it to everybody that's listening. There is nothing certain. I mean, what's the old adage? There are two certain things in life, death and taxes, right? I mean, seriously, the only thing that's certain is we're all going to leave this earth. We're all born. We're all going to die. That's what the word says, right? And then taxes, government always wants their piece. So listen to me. There is no things that you can ever be certain on. I don't know. I'm not certain I'm going to be here tomorrow. I'm not certain that the world is not going to do this. I'm not certain that the economy is going to do this. I'm not certain that I'm not certain about anything other than the one who created me. Okay. So you got to let that go and realize that it's not up to again, your circumstance or your surroundings is up to you. One of the things I love to say is I don't believe in social security. I believe in self-security. Right. So I put things in place to make sure that I'm self-secure. So that's the first thing. Mindset. Everybody listen, write this down. I refuse to participate in a recession. I don't even think they caught that. Let me say it one more time. I refuse to participate in a recession. Do you hear me? I refuse to participate in it. I'm not, nope. Oh, there's a recession going on? Nah, I don't think I'm going to participate in that this year. No, I'm not going to do that. What do you mean? No. If you like to participate, then you can. I'm not going to participate in that. And I'm not just talking, guys, listen to me that's listening. I'm not just talking. I'm telling you what I've experienced in my mindset. Think about this. The year is 2020. I'm a speaker. I travel all across the country, 3 and 4 cities a month.
Wow.
Okay? 3 and 4 cities a month. That's how I make money. That's how I grow the business. It's January, it's February, it's March. Who remembers what happened in March of 2020? I'll give you guys a minute. Right?
Oh, boy.
One by one, Jay, every single speaking engagement that I had got canceled.
Wow.
My last speaking engagement was March of 2020. Everything got canceled.
Wow.
But Jay, guess what did not get canceled? My
Your
mortgage
speaker?
payment, Jay, did not get canceled. My electricity bill, Jay, did not get canceled. My water bill, Jay, did not get canceled. My kids were in private school, Jay. Guess what? Tuition did not get canceled. Everybody still wanted to make money. And by that time, I think I might have had maybe just 2 or 3 employees. They still wanted a paycheck. Nothing got canceled that I owned. So what I had to do is can I show you something?
Ooh, that's good segue. Wow. Yeah.
I had to improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Wow.
You see, when I said earlier about how I went back to the Marine Corps, Jay, that's the culture
baby
of the Marine Corps. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Things are not going to go always the way you expect them to go. You always got to have another plan. So what happened in March? We sat down. We said, okay, what are we going to do? If I can't physically go to them, I've heard something about this thing. Is it Zoom? Zoom. Oh, Zoom. Got it. Zoom. So do you think that maybe we can reach out to them and maybe start doing some, Zoom? You think something like that? What do you think? I don't know. They're used to seeing you, Steve. I say, well, let's try this Zoom. Anybody know how to start a Zoom thing? When you go, you buy it. 2020 was the biggest year we ever had.
Really?
The biggest year we have ever had. Ever. The year that I could no longer go and speak and teach and train was the biggest year I've ever had in business. It forced me to start differently. And here's what I found out. Here's why it's the biggest year. Before, I could only go to maybe 1 city per week. If I hated doing 2 cities per week. I stopped. It just takes a lot out of you. People think it's easy to jump on a plane, go somewhere, exert energy for hours, and then do it again. Guess what? I was able to do 2 and 3 cities a day because it's all virtual, Jay.
Amazing.
2 and 3 cities a day. All virtual. Biggest year we ever had. So when people hear me say I refuse to participate in a recession, that just means I go, oh, okay, so this has happened. Let's figure it out. What are we going to do? What's the next step? How are we going to get to the next level? And so take it back. How am I able to do that? How am I able to have that mindset and not sit down, shut my business down and say, woe is me? It goes back to the mindset, the self-development, my why. I can quit. I can lay down, I can give up, but you know what? I refuse to let my children, Judah and Josiah, grow up in poverty the way that I did. And I'm willing to do every single thing I can to be able to give them the opportunities that I did not have. I got to remember why I started, man. Let me go to YouTube. Let me listen to something. All right, you got this. You can do this. Let me tell you who God created. Oh, let me read my word. What does the word say? The word says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Oh, you mean he's going to be with me even in the midst of COVID? All right, I got this. See, I realized that the business is not up to me, it's up to him. He's given me the ability to get wealth. It's just what am I going to do with the ability? Man, I'm more than a conqueror. That's what the word says about me. Well, let me see what Jim Rohn says about me as well. You see, it's the mindset you got to have to be ready for the adversities that are going to come in your life.
What does someone do that's, well, first of all, what makes you, where does your faith come from?
My faith in God, where's it come from?
Yeah.
Man, because of what he's brought me through. From what he's brought me through, from the things that I've seen him do,
Wow.
from the projects to the president.
Wow.
I know who he is, and he's not a liar. He's not a, don't get me wrong, because one of the issues I have, because I do marketplace ministry. I don't want people thinking I'm a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I'm not in the pulpit. I believe in marketplace ministry. And so one of the issues I have with my fellow Christian brothers and sisters is them sitting on their butts waiting for God, and God is waiting for them. Let me say that again. My fellow brothers and sisters in Christ are sitting on their butts waiting for God, and God's waiting for them. God is saying this, hey, waiting for me for? Jay, I done gave you every single thing you need to succeed. Steve, I've given you I'm not holding anything back. This is the type of God you think I am? I'm not holding anything back. I've already put on the inside of you, ladies and gentlemen, every single thing that you need to succeed. Now, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to sit on your gift? See what I mean, Jay? Are you going to sit on your gift? Are you going to operate in your gift? Or are you going to let fear stop you? Uh-oh. Are you going to come up with excuses about why you can't start that, I don't know, car washing company? Why can't you start that basket weaving company? Why can't you write that book that I put on the inside of you? Come on. That's a New York Times bestseller. And I put it on the inside of you. It's just sitting there, but you won't do it because you keep saying, nobody wants to hear what you say. I'm going to write a book. I don't know how to do it. I ain't got no money, but that book is on the inside of you. See, you're believing God to do something when God has already given you every single thing you need in order to fulfill his promises for you. Telling you, man, it's already in you. It is already in you.
I asked that question because, you know, the person that's listening to this and saying, I wish I had his faith, or, you know, maybe they're not clear on their walk. What would your advice be to them of where, you know, where to start with that?
Again, if somebody's saying, I wish I had his faith, you don't have to. God has given everybody the measure of faith. See, if you read the word, you know that. Did you hear? Let me say it again. The Bible says that he has given every last one of us the measure of faith. Don't be fooled by some of the different translations. King James says the measure of faith, which means I've got the same measure he has. He has the same measure she has. She has the same measure that she has. Same measure. The only difference is how do you work it? Okay. If I go to the gym. I go to the gym. I see somebody else. Man, look at those biceps. Dude, this dude got like not an 8-pack. He's got like a 16-pack. He has muscles just like I have muscles. What do you think the difference is between his muscles and my muscles? Maybe he feeds his muscles more with a little protein. Maybe he works his muscles a little bit more. I go to the gym 3 times a week. This guy's in the gym, I don't know, 3 times a day, right? Same muscles. He works his muscles more than I work mine. He takes care of his muscles. He don't put the things in his body that shouldn't be in his body. But I just can't get away from those hot Cheetos, Jay. I'm telling you right now, it's of the devil, those doggone hot Cheetos, man. And I sit up late at night and I snack on those hot Cheetos, right? He's not doing that. It's the same thing with faith. It's the same thing with faith. I simply choose to exercise my faith. And Jay, I ain't perfect. Sometimes, listen to me. Sometimes I get scared. Come on, let's be real. Sometimes I get scared. Sometimes I worry. Sometimes I go, I have no idea how this is, how this is going to happen. Sometimes I think to myself, I take a step forward, I get, take 2 steps back. Bad things happen in my life. People die around me. People get sick. People get hurt. All these things still happen. I don't know. I'm uncertain about everything that's going on around me, right? But I'm certain. What is it? I may be uncertain about my future, but I know who holds my future. You see what I mean? So, man, it all keeps coming back to mindset. If you read the right thing, if you're listening to the right thing, if you understand your why and why you're doing it, when adversities come, that's what's going to keep you moving forward.
When you were a law enforcement agent and I got pulled over and got a ticket, at the end of that, was I rethinking everything and I was ready to run through a wall? I mean, I just got to know, like, what was that? I was thinking about this earlier. What were you this inspiring then, or did a light bulb go off? You know what I'm saying?
No, man. I was lost when I was a police officer. I was lost. I'm telling you, I was lost. I was a lost soul, man. And don't understand this. I knew who God was. But I'm telling you, I was a lost soul. I was doing every single thing I had no business doing. I was not acknowledging God. It was a job. It wasn't my gift. It wasn't even something I was passionate about. I went right from the Marine Corps into law enforcement. Why? It's easy. Law enforcement was always looking for prior military people. I mean, it was one of the easiest things there were. What? You were in the Marine Corps? You're hired. You're hired like that. So it was just a job. It wasn't a calling. It wasn't a gift. It was a job. It was a job. So we struggled. You heard my story. I said we filed bankruptcy twice. Chapter, I think it was 13 and 7. Yep, chapter 13, chapter 7. We had 2 of our cars repossessed. We were hiding our cars from the repossession man. I'm a law enforcement officer. Okay. We had our house go into foreclosure, not once, but twice. So all the people that's listening or looking, don't sit here and think, well, of course he can do it. He's always, no. I ain't always had it together. When we tried to buy our first house, our credit score, listen how bad our credit score was. All you had to have was a 520 credit score. There was this great program. We couldn't even buy our first house. We didn't have a 520 credit score, me or my wife. And then you look at me today, and I wish I could. You know what, Jay? Let me try to do this. I just want to show you something. Because I showed you guys where I came from. So don't be like, oh, this guy's just bragging. No. I don't know if you can see this or not.
Beautiful.
Can you see that?
We're looking at the water.
Dude.
Right on the water.
That's my backyard.
Yeah, it's a dream.
It's my backyard. It's so funny you say it's a dream. My wife's dream was to always have a house on the water.
Really?
We live right here on Pensacola Bay.
What's that like to be able to give your Erin, right? You guys have been
Erin.
I think 25 years. Congratulations.
Thank you. 25 years.
I'd like to get your also insights and advice, wisdom on on the value of having a partner in that way. And so what's it like to accomplish that dream for her? And then, would you urge people on this to choose monogamy? I guess that's
so yeah, absolutely. And so taking notes here.
Because the younger generation isn't really even interested in that stuff. That's what the statistics say.
Yeah, obviously things have changed since the time that we were young, but I'm trying to get your listeners to understand. I don't want anybody on here thinking that I've always had it together. I don't want anybody thinking I've always had it together. So come on. One of the things that people know about me, my clients that work with me, is I am 100% authentic. We just celebrated 25 years in April, two months ago, but we haven't always had our marriage together. Come on, 25 years. I told you the stories. My God, we bankrupt. I mean, we didn't always have it together. Okay. But the only thing, and if you ask my wife, she'll tell you this as well, the thing that kept us together, once again, is our faith. That's what kept us together. And we're not just existing. Unfortunately, we know people that have been married for 20 years, 25 years, 30, and they're just existing. That's not us. We are thriving. We love doing things together. We have good times together. We're always traveling somewhere. We were just in Memphis, had a ball. We are always going somewhere. And even when, and this is cool, so some people are like this, even when we're zoned out in our own world on our phones, because this can happen sometime, right? Yeah. We've made it a habit that when I'm on my phone like this and she's on her game thing that she plays the games on, we're still sitting next to each other. I've got my foot on her. She may have her foot on me. She might be laying in my lap. So even though we're in our, try that, people that's listening, right? Even though we're in our own worlds, I'm not off somewhere. She's not off somewhere. We're right there together, right? But the one thing that kept us, I said, is faith. So everybody, I want you to picture this. Here's what happened. Our former pastor told us this. Everybody that's listening, you're married, you're thinking about getting married, like what I need to do. Let me show you how powerful, but how basic this is. I want you to draw a triangle. Jay, matter of fact, you do it as well. Draw a triangle. Yeah. Now, at the bottom left of that triangle, I want you to write your name, Jay. Got it. Over to the right, bottom right of the triangle, you write your significant other's name, whatever his name is, guys, whatever her name is. And at the top of that triangle, you write God. So here's what happens. At my triangle at the bottom, it says Steve and Aaron. So here's what happens. Steve and Aaron's at the bottom. So Steve and Aaron were fighting with each other. You need to do this. You need to do that. Well, what about this? Well, you didn't do that. Well, I want this from you. Well, I want that from you. Well, we need this. So at the bottom of that triangle, Steve and Aaron are like this. And God's at the top of the triangle, just sitting there. Once Steve and Aaron took their focus off of each other and put their focus on God, and Steve took his focus off of Aaron, and Steve started going, God, what type of man do you want me to be? God, what should I be doing? God, what should I be? I ain't thinking about Aaron over here, right? Now I'm trying to get me straight first. So I get me straight. And then I start going, okay, as a husband, how should I be treating my wife? Well, the Bible says that, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. What? But what about she not doing this and she not doing that? Said, whoa. You said, what should I be doing? It doesn't matter what she's doing. You're going to be held accountable for what you do. Even though she acted like this, even though she's doing this. So you got your focus on her again. I need you to focus on me. So I had to take my focus off of Aaron and start focusing on God. And I'm so blessed, Jay, that I was in a relationship with somebody who felt the exact same way, and she started doing the exact same thing. So once we took our focus off of each other, we started focusing on God and becoming closer to God, we met at the top. The triangle is what has kept us being in a vibrant relationship 25 years.
Profound,
but so simple. I'm not smart enough to make it any better than that. It's got to be simple. 1.9, man, I'm telling you.
Well, it's funny. We share that, my friend. Did you get through it? Did you get the degree?
I graduated. I'm talking about a high school diploma. I graduated with a 1.9. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I had that too. They told me to get the hell out of here.
No, they let me graduate.
Yeah. Oh, I got a story for you, my friend. So I got a question about relationships as it relates to someone listening to this that has realized up to this point, they listened to this 3 or 4 times, which I would suggest them re-listen to this. And they're thinking, all right, I'm ready to let go and I'm ready to get to work. How are they're 1099, or whether it's insurance or automotive or whatever, real estate, lending, and they're saying, now what? How am I going to wake up? How am I like, in closing, can we unpack some tactical that you would say, hey, right now, this is what I would advise you to do.
Yep.
On absolutely. How to cultivate opportunity and cultivate relationships. What are your thoughts on that?
Yep, absolutely. So as you're talking, here's what came to mind. First thing you got to do is you got to do your homework. You got to do your homework. You got to find out what the rules are. So here's what I mean. I'm in insurance sales. But let's say, I don't know, and I don't have a desire to do this. I'm just trying to give you an idea. I want to own I don't know, I'm looking out my window, I see a boat. You know what? I want to be a fishing boat captain. I want to own my own fishing boat. To give you an example. So I don't know. I'm like, I don't even know the first step about that. So I got to do my homework. What does it take to be a fishing boat captain? Got to find out what the steps are, right? You got to have A, you got to have B, you got to have C. Okay, what A says, I got to get a license. How do we get a license? Well, you got to have, and I'm making this stuff up to kind of give you an idea because I don't know.
Sure. Awesome.
You gotta have 200 hours on, I don't know, on a boat. Well, I guess I better go try to get 200 hours on a boat. How do I do that? I got to get hired. So now I start calling these, hey, I want to be a fishing boat captain. So I got 200 hours. Can I come and work with you? Can I come and work for you? Here's what I'll do. I'll do this if you'll give me this. If you'll help me log my out. So you got to find out what it is, right? A, B, C, D, whatever it is, you got to find out. You got to be willing to sacrifice in order to do that. So here's what happens. People will see the A, B, and C of the things they want to do, and they go, man, 200 hours. I can't do that. I'm working a full-time job. I just can't quit and go do it. Yeah, you don't have to quit. Write this down. Remember this. Work full-time on your job. Work part-time on your fortune. Work full-time on your job, work part-time on your fortune. So you may have to work 5 hours a day at your regular job at the corporation and spend your 200 hours on the weekend. Well, Steve, I got a family. How am I going to be able to do that? Then you got to have a conversation with your family. Hey, family, here's the goal. Here's the vision. Here's the dream. Dad's going to be a fishing boat captain. Why? So you got to have your why. Why don't I be a fishing boat captain? Because I want to be provide this and this and this and this. So here's what it's going to take. I got to have 200 hours, but I still got to have enough money coming in and keep the lights on. Okay. So I'm going to have to make a sacrifice. So on Saturdays and maybe on Sundays, I'm going to have to go out here in this boat with Jay, because that's step one of me getting this. Don't mean I don't love you guys, but I just need you to be with Dad and understand what Dad has to go through, right? Same thing happened when I wrote my first book. I had a conversation. So what happens is a lot of times people do these things, they're not having the conversations, right? Aaron, kids, I'm trying to write my first book. I never wrote a book before. I have no idea what I'm doing, okay? So what's going to happen is still got to work. I'm at State Farm, still got to work, got to do this. And when I come home, you know how I normally come home, we may go do this with it. I said, I'm not going to be able to do that for like the next 90 days. All right, I'm going to come home, we'll eat, and Dad's going to go in here. I'm going to put my headset on, and Dad's just going to start writing. All right. So I let them know what was going on. So when they saw Dad, they understood what Dad was doing, right? Not ignoring you, but it's about sacrifice. Write this down, people that's listening. Do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later. Most people are not willing to do what they have to do right now. They come up with excuses. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. Ooh, write that down. Put that somewhere. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. Anyone listening, if you for 1 second think that I just woke up one morning and everything just changed, are you kidding me? Serious? No, it's a process. But if you'll do the things I'm asking you to do, then you can shorten the process. In sales training, so I own this sales training company, right? So think about it. I'm the one who had to fail over and over and over and over again in sales to figure out what to say and figure out what not to say, what works and what doesn't work. And I failed over and over and over and over and over, succeed. Fail, 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 succeed. Fail, 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 succeed. Fail, 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 succeed. Fail, succeed. You see? So it took me a couple of years to get it down. So now I come in and I start training people in sales so they don't have to take as long as I did. I listen to what they're saying, just, hey, I can tell you right now, that's not going to work. Instead of saying that, say this. You ain't got to wait 4 years, 2 years. You ain't got to wait. Just trust me. Say this, it works. Matter of fact, say this, it works. And so if they listen to me, develop their skill set, they have a trajectory that's going to be a lot quicker than what I had to go through, right? It's the exact same thing in everything. In finances, how do we go from being in the red to having abundance? Did it happen overnight? No. So those people listening, if you haven't filed bankruptcy twice, if you haven't had your car repossessed twice, if your house hasn't went into foreclosure twice, if you haven't had a 500 or less credit, don't tell me it can't be done. It absolutely can be done if you're willing to do it. So my wife and I, we put on a free financial class, free to them. Cost us a little over $1,000 to put this class on. You see what I mean? But we do it because we don't want you to have to go through the things that we went through. So listen to us and you'll get there a lot quicker than it took us to get there. But you got to be willing to put the work in.
Where can people that are listening enroll or apply for the class, and how can they go?
It's a local class. So I live in here in Pensacola, Florida, right on the beautiful Gulf Coast, right on the water. And so we do it here in Pensacola. It's a free financial class. We call it Financial Boot Camp, right? And we put that class on. And so now this is key. Watch this, Jay. This will blow your mind. It's a free class. Free. Okay? And we feed you. You would think, and we rent out this beautiful, I mean, it's a huge place. It holds, I don't know, Doug, what is it? 100, I'm gonna say 150 people. It holds 150 people.
Pretty
Beautiful
big.
place. Oh, big place. So we had our 25-year anniversary there. They really do it nice. So let's say it holds 125 people. Its class is free. How many people would you guess that show up for that class? One quick guess.
Okay, 25.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I can be a bit cynical, so maybe that helps.
No, realistic. You are being.
Wait, that's really what you were going to say.
The highest number that we've ever had was 37. The highest number that we've ever had was 37. 37. And we're talking about people that I need to make more money. I don't make enough money. I'm broke. I need this. I'm in debt. I want to learn this. I want to learn. So you got a free class from two people who are not coming in going, I got it all together. They're going, oh, let me show you where I was. We are completely open and honest in this class. We tell them where we, and so they go, well, goodness, I ain't never had those type of financial issues. So if y'all can do it, we know we can do it.
Did you see them light up?
Yeah, they light up because they go, bankrupt. I ain't got those issues.
That's amazing.
But people won't even come. And then when you tell them about it, what happened? I thought y'all were going to come to, man, you're not going to believe what happened. I had to go do this. I had to do whatever later. So I'm telling you, most people are not willing to do what it takes in order to take their life, their business, their marriage, their health, or whatever the case may be to the next level.
It makes me think of what you said earlier about faith. You got to this is what I got from what you said. You have to walk through the door, or I don't know. That's kind of what you have to show up to the meeting. You have to. You really have to. And it's, again, it goes back to, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. There's something I saw one time that says you got to choose your hard.
Like, it's hard to stop spending. It's hard to create a budget, right? Rule number 7 is we talk about 8 rules. Rule number 7 is my favorite rule. Rule number 7 is make more money, right? And make
I
more
like that
money.
rule.
You like that? I love that rule. So we talk about debt and budget and expenses and stuff, and we get to rule number 7. I start lighting up and you're like, oh Lord, okay, Steve, you talk about rule number 7. It said, just make more money.
Steve, in closing, I want selfishly the audience to follow you, hire you. So how are they connecting with you, and what's your process like? How should one reach out to you and follow you right now if they're saying, God, I need this man in my life?
Man, let me tell you, that's so funny. My guy, his name is Simi. It's important to have people around you that are smarter than you. And he is, and I swear, I can't even tell you what it's called, but he's creating something where I am able to let people connect with me in any way they want to connect. They can listen to videos of me, they can interact with me, they can ask questions, they can do one-on-one coaching. So you'll get to choose, this is how I want to interact with Steve. And so the way to be able to do that is reaching out to me. My email address is so simple, guys. It's my name at my name. It's steve@stevewilmer.com. And my last name is spelled Wilmer, steve@stevewilmer.com. Shoot me an email, tell me you heard it, you have questions, whatever the case may be. How about this, guys? How about just shoot me an email and tell me something that you learned? Shoot me an email, tell me something you're going to do differently. Shoot me an email and just tell me one thing that you're going to implement. Please do that. How about that?
Steve, in closing, final word for our audience.
Fine. Oh, me give a final word. The final word, yeah, absolutely. So here's the final word. And hear when I say this. Guys, I am special. Like God made me special, but I ain't nothing special. I hope y'all catch what I'm saying. I'm special, but I ain't nothing special. If I did it, then you can do it too. You just got to make up in your mind that you're going to do it. That's it.